Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter Podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it right here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We got a great show for you today. If you want to call in, 570-530-8316. Let's get it started with ESPN Deportes. Babe, Oscar Valdez versus Ricky Medina. Valdez is what, 34 years old? Babe?
He's an old 34 too.
Right? He looks like an old 34.
With all due respect, I mean, biological age in boxing is not always the same as, as it is in boxing years. And we could see that, with all due respect to Valdez, he is starting to slow down just a bit, right?
Yeah. He won a unanimous decision, 97-93, 100-90, and 98-92. Babe, you watched this fight. You saw Valdez. As I'm looking at these scores, and he had a shutout on the one card. This guy he fought was 16-3. It was way out of his league. And you said that he made it interesting in spots.
He did.
I mean, you saw Valdez. Where does he go from here? I mean, does he still have what it takes to get back to the upper echelons of this?
Here's the thing. He's got a big name promoter behind him in Top Rank. That's number one. Number two, he's got a fan-friendly style. He's got a decent fan base behind him, right? So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he gets a title shot again. But the question is, can he beat these guys at 130? That's the big question. And it's tough at this stage. Can he be champion again? It's not impossible. Guys move up. Guys decide. They get stripped for whatever reason, and titles become vacant. Is it out of the realm of possibility that he can't maybe pick up a vacant title somewhere along the line? Yeah, but beating a guy like O'Shaquie Foster, I don't know.
At this stage. You know what I mean? Like at this stage of his career.
Beating a Raymond Ford or somebody of that stature, I don't see it. I don't see it. So, again, I don't want to be a hater, like the boxing fans like to label people who have opinions, but I don't know. It's going to be a tall task for him to become champion again, at least in this current crop of junior lightweights in this environment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that he's got a big name promoter behind him, like you said, Top Rank, and I think he'll get with the win. It's a good win, right? It's a good comeback win, whatever. Yeah. And I think he gets a big fight, but I think his big fights are his big fight days are definitely numbered. And he might get a good shot at somebody, but that it's definitely numbered, man.
And to his credit, he always stays active, and he really never says no to fights. And he just tries to keep busy. And Top Rank is a great promoter because, he just come off a tough loss, right? He was stopped in his last fight by Navarrete, right? And, they give him a nice, rebuilding confidence builder type fight, which is great. So they keep him busy. They're matching him correctly. And we'll see what happens next. But yeah, it's going to be tough for him. His style is kind of a style that doesn't tend to age well in an older fighter. It doesn't transcend well for an older fighter in their later years, right? He's an inside type fighter who likes to grind it out. I like to call fighters like that grinders. I mean, Gabe Montoya used to use that term a lot back in the day. He called those guys grinders, guys that hang around on the inside, like a Jojo Diaz type style of fighter, guys that like to, fight aggressively, fight off the front foot a lot, try to get inside and just rail off those combinations on the inside, rip the short hooks to the body and head, and shorten up the looping right hands on the inside. So yeah, he's that grinder type of fighter, and those are the type of fighters that it takes a lot of energy to get to get up close, and while you're in there, you're in harm's way, and you put yourself in danger. And as you get older, you're going to start taking more shots, right?
Yeah,
So it's tough.
absolutely.
It's tough when you have a style like his.
It's tough to come back. I mean, like I said, trying to come back from all this. That being said, he's 34 also.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's not a young 34. He's been through the ringer. He's been
an
through
older
some tough
34.
fights.
Yeah.
There we go.
We've already had this conversation this morning. Another man should not be that excited about wanting to see cream on another man's face. You may want to take a look at that. I mean, these are your own fetishes that I don't know if you want to make them public to the rest of the world. We've already talked about this.
Big Texan said he wants to see Beeb get cream pie.
I mean, if you
This is
want
from
to see
boxing.
cream, if you like this cream pie thing, get in front of a mirror with a can of whipped cream and just spray yourself and ask one of your friends to lick it off your face if that's your fetish. This is a family show here.
It was a family show
sorry.
till about 2 seconds ago.
I mean, this is not a place where we talk about your sexual fetishes.
Oh.
Sorry. This isn't the love and hip hop here. This isn't TMZ.
Oh, loving hip hop. What?
What's up, G Funky? G Funky in the house, everybody.
G Funky. All right, let's talk about the upcoming fights. Is there any fights on this weekend? Babe, this coming up weekend?
Yes,
Is there anything?
Sir. Yes, there are, sir.
We got it right here. September 11th, Las Vegas on DAZN. That's not the one you were talking about?
Definitely talking about that one. But there's other ones as well.
Anthony, I'm going to butcher this name. How do you... Olasquagua? Listen, that works for me. Versus Juan Carlos Camacho Rivera.
I'll take
12 rounds for Olasquas. Or Olasqua. It is what it is.
Yeah.
WBO flyweight title. Justin Valoria versus Joshafat Ortiz. 8 rounds junior lightweights. And then September 13th from Northern Ireland on DAZN, Lewis Crocker versus Paddy Donovan. 12. That's on DAZN. How about that's on DAZN, right? For the vacant IBF welterweight title, Ishmael Davies versus Aguiarco. I don't know. Junior middleweights. It is what it is. That's wow. I didn't realize this. September 14th, Neo Inoue fights Akhmadiliev. Yeah, that's a good fight.
That's an awesome fight. We're looking forward to that one.
Oh, and that's going to be in the weekday.
That's right.
We love those Japan fights on the weekdays, right?
We like those fights, yeah.
I love them, right? All right, September 13th on Netflix in Las Vegas. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, 12 rounds for Alvarez undisputed super middleweight championship. Callum Walsh versus Fernando Vargas Jr., 10 rounds junior middleweights. Christian Mbili versus Lester Martinez, 12 rounds super middleweights. Muhammad Alakel versus John Ornelius, 10 rounds junior lightweights. Sergey Boachuk versus friend of the show, Brandon Adams, 10 rounds junior middleweights. So really good card here. In case you're wondering, yeah, get it. If you subscribe to Netflix, go and subscribe to Netflix. Alexander Wilson says, put all your money on Paddy Donovan. He's going to smoke Lewis Crocker. There you go. All right.
Yeah, there's a controversial ending in the first one.
All right. Well, there you go. There you go. All right, Beeb. We've talked about this thing for months. For months we've waited for this fight. And it's fight week.
6 days away.
So this is great, man, because we got the pressers coming up. We got the weigh-in coming up on Friday. We may do a weigh-in. When is that? You want to do a weigh-in show? Maybe we do a weigh-in show. Well, let's just touch base, and we'll see if we can get in on Friday.
I think we can squeeze a weigh-in show.
I think we can, too. Yeah, I think we can, too.
I should be available for that.
Because that's where you kind of get, like I said, we'll make picks today and everything, but the weigh-in is kind of where you kind of see things going down. You see who's nervous, who's not, who's dried out, who's not. If he's overweight or somebody's overweight, there's a lot of things that can happen in the weigh-in. Hopefully the weigh-in is just, but you never know. Never know what's going on.
It's hard to imagine, in my opinion, either one of these guys not being in tip-top shape, at least physically for this fight.
Yeah, it's
They
kind of
just-
like that. Yeah, it's kind of like the Errol Spence Crawford fight. You know they were coming in shape, man. Both those guys are good. Both those guys are pros. In the same thing here. Canelo, I don't remember Canelo coming out of shape for a fight.
The crazy thing here is, does Crawford come in at about 162, 164 ish, or does he come in at like 167, 168 ish? Because a lot of people are concerned. They don't want to see him fight right at that level, right at that 168-pound limit. They would rather him just come in however he's supposed to come in at, Even like when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to super middleweight, like he would weigh in at about 162 ish, 163 ish.
Yeah,
He never really weighed at like Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to super middleweight after he beat Hagler because he didn't want to fight those guys. He didn't want to fight Michael Nunn. He didn't want to fight those like Quincy Taylor. He didn't want to fight those
no.
because that division, they had some young up and comers in the division.
Michael Nunn would have murdered Sugar Ray
He,
Leonard.
he knew that. Like he knew
Yeah,
that. So
he knew. Yeah, he
when he
absolutely.
moved up to 168 because he thought they were better.
Where did he fight Lalonde at? Was that 168 or 175?
No, they fought at 168. The only shitty thing about that, and again, I call it like I see it, the fact that they had that for two titles on the same night, because Lalonde they fought for the vacant WBC super middleweight title. It was the inaugural 168-pound super middleweight title, WBC version, and Lalonde also put his WBC light heavyweight title on the line. I think that was kind of shitty that they that he had to put that they put it in the contract that he had to put up both titles in order to get the fight. I would, if you're going to fight him at 168, just have the 168-pound title on the line. Don't have the two titles on the line.
Stupid. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I thought that was kind of shitty.
Lalonde wasn't going to win that fight anyway.
No.
The fact that Ray Leonard knocked him out at that weight, shows you. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
a handpicked fight for sure.
Yeah. And Leonard was knocked down in that fight too.
Yeah. Well,
He was hurt.
They were talking about the Camacho. Somebody mentioned Camacho the other day. I was watching something on Camacho, and they were talking about him beating Sugar Ray Leonard and everything. And I'm like, yeah, but I get it. But he still stepped in the ring, though. He still stepped in the ring.
I mean, that was the one fight that really bothered me. Like I went after, like I don't get really too wrapped up emotionally in fights, but
yeah,
I felt bad. That kind of bothered me a little bit. Like, 'cause Sugar Ray Leonard.
That Terry Norris fight was the one that got me, man. I mean, he really put a.
I kind of understood that because I didn't think he was going to beat Terry Norris at that stage. I thought that was a horrible fight for him. But the Camacho thing, yeah, Camacho's not supposed to beat Ray Leonard.
No, not at that stage either. I mean, it was like because Camacho was,
Yeah, no disrespect to Camacho, may he rest in peace, but he's not supposed to beat Ray Leonard.
No.
And Ray Leonard, I guess, heard it, like he tore his calf or something, whatever, and he was. But it is what it is. Like you said, you took the fight. You
took the fight.
You stepped in the ring. You got to deal with it. No excuses. I'm sorry. But yeah, that bothered me. That bothered me seeing that.
All right. Let's talk about this Canelo Crawford fight. Let's break this one down. Beeb, you did a show earlier today on what the odds makers are seeing. Before we start breaking the fight down, talk to me about that. And if you guys, by the way, like and subscribe to the channel because Beeb does content all week. And especially this week, I know he's going to do a lot of content.
Yeah.
So you'll see all the shows. You get to participate in the shows. So just like and subscribe, man.
Yeah. So we keep hearing this is a 50-50 fight. And this is just from boxing. Boxing nerds are telling you this. Hardcore boxing fans are telling you this. Boxing insiders are telling you this. But the odds makers are telling us something entirely different. They're saying that Canelo is the clear favorite here. He's a 60-40 favorite according to the odds.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, what the odds makers are also saying is they're indicating very strongly that they believe that this fight is going to go the distance. They don't see this. It's not impossible, obviously, that this can't end in a knockout. But the most probable, highly likely outcome, according to the odds makers, is this fight is going the distance. Because you can get Canelo by decision at pretty much like a plus 105, even money, right? And Crawford by decision is like a plus 195, 200, right? So they're telling you this fight is going the distance.
Yeah.
And they're saying that Canelo is going to win this by decision. That's what they're telling you. So it's not really technically a 50-50 fight, but I do find it interesting. Like I said, a lot of kind of hardcore fans when it comes to the hardcore fans and a lot of the boxing insiders, the old school trainers and some of the fighters out there, a lot of those types of people. I know Dougie Fisher was on the show with Mario Lopez and Steve Kim.
Yeah, 3 knockdown.
3 knockdown rule. Thank you. And he was saying that a lot of the boxing insiders that he's talking to are picking Crawford. So even though that may be the case, the mainstream public, the general consensus out there is Canelo's going to win this fight, and they're picking him by decision. So we'll see what happens.
G Funky, you know what? I completely agree with you. He says we need this fight to sizzle on the big stage. If not, then we would continue to see the sideshow fights. Yeah,
and
I 100% agree.
I know Jerry said this last week, and he made some great points. This could be a chess match, and this could be a fight that maybe doesn't live up to the hype. And I'm hoping he's wrong. I'm just hoping he's wrong. What I do think, right, is I think honestly, and maybe this isn't fair, what I'm about to say, the onus is going to be on Crawford to make this fight exciting. And from what we're hearing, a lot of people are saying this, and what we're hearing, and Zab Judah actually was on video talking about this, and what he's hearing is that they're going to go in there and try and knock Canelo out. That's what he's hearing in camp. And they're also saying, Crawford's trainer there, Bomac, is saying, we're really going to turn this up the second half of the fight because they're banking on Canelo fading in the second half of the fight, and that's where they believe they're going to pick it up. And if you do remember, even in the Madrimov fight, Crawford started to pour it on. He started to pour it on in the last 3 or 4 rounds, and you could see that's where the fight started really pulling away from Madrimov, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if Crawford, maybe it is a chess match for the first 4 or 5, maybe even 6 rounds. And then after the 5th or 6th round, maybe Crawford decides to take a little bit of chances here and there. But the notion that he's going to morph into Arturo Gatti and just stand there and slug with Canelo, I don't see that happening either. But we're gonna break it down. But yeah. That's what this video was mainly about, is how the odds makers and the general public sees this fight, because Canelo is definitely the clear favorite here.
For sure.
He's the clear favorite. So,
Andrew Castellanos, thank you so much. He said 8-4 Canelo in a lackluster fight. Oh,
we'll see. I mean, again, I'm not. Even though I have my opinion on this fight, I'm not ruling anything out here.
No,
I'm not.
Well, let's break it down, man. Let's break it down. Let's break it down by our categories. We got power, speed, boxing ability, and then the X factor. Let's go first with power. Beeb, I'll kick it over to you first. Power, who has the edge here?
We have to give it to Canelo, but
I think it's fair.
But you have to also keep in mind, it's one thing having the power, but as we said before, the legs are the delivery system. And we talked about this before the show. Like they say that the first thing to go in a fighter is his legs, and the last thing to go is his power. But where does the power come from? It comes from the legs. How do you get your body in position to deliver that power? You have to have the footwork to do it. So if Canelo's upper body, like I've seen signs of his upper body kind of getting ahead of his lower body, and his lower body, his legs have been lagging behind a little bit. If that's the case in this fight, then it's going to be interesting, and then people can talk about, he had that snappy left hook against Berlanga. He looked quick when he threw that quick left hook, right uppercut combination, and knocked down Munguia. But keep in mind, those guys were trapped up against the ropes when he delivered those shots, and his feet were planted. He was already in position to do that. It's one thing being able to have yourself in position to land those shots. It's another thing being able to do it against a guy who has got quick feet and who's going to be sticking a jab in your face, we talked about the pot shot style he has problems with. So, again, these are all interesting points. We're going to have to just wait and see.
Right. G Funky says, I know a fighter that was in Canelo's camp a few weeks ago. What he told me made me change my pick. You got to tell us who. You can't just leave us out here on a limb here. You got to let us know here.
Who are you picking?
Right. Yeah, you got to let us know here. And then you got to let us know why. All right. So, listen, power. I'm in agreement with you, B. Power definitely goes to Canelo. He's the bigger guy. He's fought at this weight for a minute. You know what I mean? And Crawford is coming up. 2 weight classes. I mean, almost 3, because he's only had one fight at 154, and now he's got to go from 154 to 168. That's a huge jump. That's a big jump. And you and I both know when we talk about lighter weights, when we talk about like Inoue jumping up, we're all like in awe of Inoue because of his weight classes, and same with Pacquiao, how he went up through all these weight classes and his power seems to travel with him. This is a big step for Crawford. Weight-wise, it's a big step. You gotta say power definitely has to belong to Canelo.
You gotta give it to Canelo.
You have to. Speed. For me, this is going to be Crawford. For me, Crawford has faster hands, faster feet, and just, to me, better overall movement of the ring. You know what I mean? Just better overall movement. And what do you say?
I agree with you. Yeah,
you agree? Perfect.
Yep. Well,
that's what I figured. Those first 2 were pretty easy. Now, boxing ability. This is one. And before I kick it over to you, Bebo, I'll let you know, this isn't as cut and dry as you may think. Both these guys can box at a high level. But at the end of the day, you have to say who's more versatile. I think Crawford can do more things in the ring. This is funny, though. Crawford can do more things in the ring. But I think Canelo has more ways to win the fight. Because Canelo, I think, can knock Crawford out. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I think Canelo has the strength, has the power to get Crawford out of there. I don't know that Crawford has the same power to get Canelo out of there. He's going to have to fight a completely different fight. You know what I mean? He can't really match a powered style with Canelo, I don't think. But that's why they fight. Beeb, boxing ability.
Yeah, you said
give that nod to.
You said something interesting, versatility. And we've seen Crawford win in a lot of different ways. We've seen him be the outboxer, picking and choosing his spots, pot shotting from the outside. We've seen him be the counter puncher. We've seen him fight orthodox. We've seen him fight southpaw. We've seen him, be effective in the mid range, and we've seen him, with some decent being able to handle himself on the inside as well too, ripping those shots up close to the body. Where Canelo is primarily a counter puncher, he can take the lead when he's forced to, but that is not what he's comfortable doing. Whenever he's taking the lead, that doesn't seem like something that he wants to do. But he's more of an inside guy with a little bit of a mid-range game, and where he's going to have his problems here is from the outside when there's space. So even though Crawford can, has more of a versatile style, right? But as you said, Canelo has more ways to win because, he can win a decision or get a knockout here. Where Crawford, the most likely path to victory for him is going to be a decision, right? Because it's going to be hard positioning him. But even though he has, more tools in the toolbox, so to speak, Canelo may have the more effective tools on the night.
That's a great point. That's a really good point. That's a very good point.
You could have 1,000 tools in the toolbox, but that guy has two tools in his toolbox that are highly effective tools, and that's all he needs to complete the job.
And he knows how to use them.
It doesn't matter how many tools you have.
Yeah.
Right. So again, that's there's two sides to the argument here. I think that those tools in Crawford's toolbox will be enough, but again, that still remains to be seen on the night.
All right. Let's move on to the X factor here. My X factor is going to be, I've got 2 actually. My X factor is going to be the footwork of Crawford. I think the movement and the angles can give Canelo problems in this fight. We've seen that with Mayweather. We've seen it with Bivol. We've seen it with a lot of people. We've seen it with Lara. I think the angles, the movement is going to give Canelo problems. He has trouble against that kind of style. Now, my second X factor is the weight of Terence Crawford. Will the weight hinder him as the fight goes on? I always worry about this when fighters move up, and I always mention it because you're not used to carrying that weight. You're not. You put this weight on in a major fight. You know what I mean? You've moved up 2 weight classes. That weight is going to hinder. That weight could be a hindrance, just depending on how you put it on, how you lost it, how you put it on, whatever the case may be. But it's not your usual fighting weight. Walking around weight and fighting weight, 2 different things. 2 different things.
Yeah. The X factor for me, interestingly enough, as you said, Crawford's foot speed. My X factor is Canelo's footwork here. Because
Interesting. Yeah.
he never had the quickest feet in the world. And what I'm starting to see, and particularly in that skull fight, and again, that was one fight, but the fact that he only threw 152 punches in that fight, right, was troubling to me. And was that more or less of he said, fuck it, I don't want to chase this guy around the ring? Or was it partly, I don't want to chase this guy around the ring because I can't? Or if I do, I'm going to tire out? And I'm starting to see him like try to lunge in with that hook. And is he doing that just because his feet have, because he's lost a step with his footwork? So if Crawford is going to see, it doesn't, I mean, obviously the power is going to mean something, but if Crawford can see these punches coming, right, because he's reaching and lunging and telegraphing or loading up with these shots and only throwing one shot at a time, is that one shot at a time going to be enough? And is he going to have his feet underneath him to deliver that shot properly and effectively? So Canelo's footwork is an X factor for me. I got to see if that upper body and lower body is in sync for this fight. And maybe that was just a bad performance on the night against Skull, or if that's kind of the beginning of the end, if that's an indication of what's to come and what we have from here on out.
We saw. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And number two is with Crawford, right? Even if he doesn't have his legs underneath him, he's still a bigger guy, more powerful guy. Will he be affected by Canelo's power at all? Even if it's just one shot at a time, even can Canelo land one shot and just turn the fight, and will Crawford kind of just fold up by getting hit with that one shot? Because that's what a lot of people are saying. All Canelo has to do, like, Canelo can hurt him where Crawford can't hurt Canelo. But we've only seen Canelo hurt once in his career, really, and that was against Jose Cotto, Miguel Cotto's brother. That was the only time he's ever been. So,
Triple G, I think Triple G rung him in the first fight. I think he also rung him in the second fight. He rang him a couple of times.
I don't know if like, I've never really seen someone freeze Canelo in his trap. Like I've seen him take shots very well in fights. Yeah. So like Bivol, I didn't think really hurt him that much. I mean, of course, all punches hurt and they're going to get your attention, and they may, but he seems to kind of like just walk, like he's very stoic when he gets hit with shots. Like you can't, he doesn't seem to be affected greatly by these punches. At least even when Triple G was landing great like right hands, he would turn his head and then he would look back and he would go smile at him and go no, like, and he would keep coming, just keep coming. Like even Triple G, I don't think, like, he may have buzzed him a few times. I
think he definitely buzzed him.
I'm sure the punches didn't feel good,
right?
But I don't think I've ever really seen anyone hurt him to the point where it discouraged him from continuing to fight on. Like he's still like, I've never seen anyone really take the wind out of Canelo's sails during the fight. And you could argue like Bivol was, quote unquote bigger or whatever, but even he never really hurt Canelo.
No,
he kind of like, I've seen guys who beat him, like Mayweather never really hurt him. Ines Lara never really hurt him. Bivol never really hurt him. Maybe to your point, maybe Golovkin got his attention a few times, but I just never really seen anybody stop this guy and really hurt this guy to the point where it discouraged him and changed the, like, just fight changing power that changed him in the fight. So the whole notion that Crawford can't hurt him or has to hurt him to win this fight, and it's not always about power too. Like you can get knocked out and get hurt or buzzed by punches that you don't see, that punches that surprise you, right?
Well, and Crawford's been hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been knocked down before. So,
well, officially he hasn't been knocked down, but I do think Kavaluskas did knock him down once in that fight. I think that was a knockdown.
Yeah.
But technically neither guy has been knocked down. But we have to keep in mind that Canelo is the harder puncher here, and he's been punched by bigger men his whole career, whereas in a lot of instances Crawford's always pretty much been the bigger guy. Even against Spence, that they're pretty much equal in size. So Crawford's really never fought, quote unquote, substantially bigger guy. Where, when you looked at Canelo fighting a guy like Caleb Smith, like you could tell the difference in size. Like he's definitely an undersized super middleweight, and he's always been able to deal with the bigger guys. So
I mean, with no problem. I mean, really with no problem. That's the one thing. Alexander Wilson, thank you so much. He said, interesting fact, Bud has a longer reach. Yeah. Yeah, that's and as somebody in the chat referenced, so did Mayweather, so did Bivol. So, who knows? It depends on what kind of fight he's gonna fight here, man. So let's talk about who has the edge here. All right. And for me, there's more questions on Crawford in this fight than Canelo. There's just
100%.
Canelo has been in a ton of big fights, and he knows what to expect. He's not going to get blind by those bright lights, man. He knows. He's been in the big fights. Crawford's only been in arguably one big fight in his career, and that was against Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah.
Canelo is in Vegas. He'll have the crowd. He's got the weight advantage. I think coming in, you would have to, and the odds makers agree with me, they favor Canelo in this fight. Beeb, what are your thoughts on that? Who has the edge in this fight?
Canelo's going to have the edge going in because he's going to be the prohibitive favorite, and there's going to be I think this is just my opinion, and again, it can be argued either way. I do think the judges tend to have a subconscious bias towards the A-side fighter, and they tend to give the A-side fighter any close rounds. So he's going to have that edge. And both guys at points, like neither guy, I sent you the average punches thrown and landed per round. Neither guy does throw a ton of punches, but Crawford does throw more and does land more than Canelo does. But it's not by a huge margin. Like Crawford probably throws maybe 10 or 15 punches more around and lands about 5 or 8 punches more around. So, Crawford is going to have to really make sure during the quiet moments of the round when there's not a lot of action that he's just touching him, at least throwing the jab out there, trying to initiate action. And even if you're not going to throw something hard, or even if you want to feel the guy out, make sure you're constantly throwing that jab and touching him. And when Canelo's doing nothing, you have to be doing something here, because if there's quiet rounds, Canelo has a history of getting the benefit of doubt in those quiet rounds. So you cannot. Both guys have started slow in fights. I think Crawford, if he does start slow in this fight, it's going to hurt him worse than it hurts Canelo. So he may have to start a little quicker here. He may have to throw a lot of jabs. He's going to have to create. It's going to be up to him to initiate the action, because even though both guys are counter punches to some degree, Canelo is definitely more so the counter puncher by nature than Crawford is. So it's going to be up to Crawford to really dictate how this fight goes, because Canelo fights one way primarily. Crawford's going to have to he's going to have to be the one to initiate the action. He's going to be the one to set the pace. He's going to be the one to show Canelo the different looks. All the onus is on Crawford here. All of it.
All of it. 100%.
All of it.
He's got to come in and he's got to win this fight.
He's got to
make the fight happen. He's got to go in there and he's got to win the rounds.
Can't leave rounds on the table. You can't fight in spurts here. And if you gotta fight, you gotta do something. Every minute of every round has to be purposeful for you.
Absolutely.
Has to be purposeful.
Has to be. G Funky says Canelo can't pull the trigger like he used to. I've been saying this since the Ryder fight. I tell you what, we've talked about that too. Not necessarily about him pulling the trigger.
Well, it's because his legs. It's because his legs have slowed down.
His legs have slowed down. We've talked about it. He is a step slow. He is a step slow.
If your legs are behind your upper body, then you're going to be reaching with shots, or it's going to take you time to set your feet and get the shots off. Now, again, he looked great with that sharp left hook against Berlanga, but keep in mind, Berlanga was stationary, trapped up against the ropes. Full credit. It was a beautiful shot.
It's Berlanga, Munguia. Those are all products of good matchmaking. You and I both know that.
They were right there.
Chavez Jr.
Even Charlo. Charlo was stood up against the ropes and he landed that right hand, and Charlo took the knee. So again, like
that was probably the most disappointing Canelo fight. That one and the Callum
ever,
Smith fight.
ever.
Because I gave those two guys a shot and said, you know what? I think Callum Smith, coming off that big win, off that big, that big tournament he won, coming off of that to fight Canelo, I said, man, this is going to be good. He got washed.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Charlo, man. Charlo went in there, talked all this, and Charlo's a good fighter. Went in and just got smashed. I mean, it wasn't even close, man. So they definitely saw something, those promoters, those matchmakers saw something, man. That's for sure. Yeah. All right, now finally, who wins? I'm going to take this first beam, and then I'm going to kick it over to you. I think Canelo is on the dark side of his career. Terence Crawford is not like any fight he's had before. I think Crawford has all the intangibles to make this a difficult fight for Canelo. Canelo has trouble with pure boxers. We've said this before. Lara, Bivol to me is a pure boxer, and he had trouble with him. But although Bivol is a bigger guy.
Sure.
I think Crawford is going to use his footwork. He's going to use his angles to get in and out of range. I also think that Crawford's going to stand in the pocket and bang with Canelo at times in this fight. And he's going to have to get Canelo's respect, and I think he'll get it. I don't see either fighter getting KO'd in this fight. All right? I think it goes to the decision. I think Terence Crawford shocks the world. I think he wins by unanimous decision, somewhere about 7 rounds to 5, 8 rounds to 4, somewhere in that range. No knockdowns, nothing like that. I think I actually think it's going to be a clear win for him. I really do. I think it's a clear win for him. It's a good fight, not a great fight. I think you're going to see more mastery, like Crawford mastery on this fight than you will see anything else. I think we'll be talking about Crawford, not really the fight. But that's just my prediction. We could be talking about Canelo, not really the fight. That's why they fight. Beeb, go ahead.
Both guys are in great shape. Both guys are pretty durable themselves. Canelo is a notch above when it comes to durability, but you have to understand too, being durable has a lot to do with your conditioning and your stamina.
Yeah.
And Canelo really paces himself to make sure he doesn't run out of gas later in the fights. So there's a reason why. It's not just strategy. It's not just game plan. I think it's physiological why Canelo doesn't throw a lot of punches. I don't think his body is comfortable doing so. I think he paces himself because he is concerned about, fading late in fights. Because I do think he does fade late in fights. Well, how did he knock out Kovalev? How did he knock out...
Kovalev was washed when they fought, son.
How did he knock out Kovalev and Plant late in fights? Simple answer to that. Kovalev and Plant also fade late in fights worse than Canelo does. And we've
they
seen
do. They do. You're right. You're 100% right.
He ran into two guys, and this sounds like hate. Sounds like I'm just being honest. Look at Plant, how badly he faded against Benavidez, and in his last fight he got stopped. Look at how Kovalev faded so badly in both fights with Ward, and he's done that a lot, right, in his career, where he just tires out, right? And he almost got knocked out against Anthony Yard, right? So if we're going to go to, Canelo's definitely more durable, but again, I think this fight is going to play out this way. I think Crawford is going to fight this fight in the southpaw stance. He may show flashes of orthodox just to confuse Canelo for a little bit, just to throw him up.
Yeah, I don't think he goes one way or the other through the whole fight. I
think he's going to fight a lot of this fight in the southpaw stance. I do think he's going to take a lot of a lot of the pages out of the book of what Lara did. I love what Lara did in that fight, how he just kept sticking him, maybe taking that little half step off to the right, and then he would just kept touching him, take that little half step off to the right, maybe walk him to the left a little bit, then go back to the right. And he just kept him fighting, probing from the outside, fighting him on the perimeter for long periods of time in that fight. And he just kept touching him with the jab. And then he would sneak the left hand every now and then down the pike, right? But another thing he did was off that jab, and this is something Crawford does beautifully too, and this is a rarity in southpaws. You don't see southpaws throw that right hook off the jab a lot. Their primary weapon, like Manny Pacquiao, Sergio Martinez, a lot of these guys they're left-hand punchers, like Luis Collazo, whatever, Prograis. They're known to have been big left-hand punchers. You don't see southpaws feel comfortable throwing that right hook on orthodox fighters because they have to throw it over the top of the lead hand, and it's hard from that angle. But you see Crawford and you see Lara did it where they'll take that step to the right, they'll jab, 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 and then they just come over the top. Like they'll jab and they have their hand like already extended.
Yeah.
And while that hand's extended, they just transition it so quick, boom, like they'll just loop that fucking right hook. And Lara was landing a lot of those shots.
Yeah,
and
he was.
I seen Crawford really hurt Brook with that shot and really hurt Spence with that right hook. And he scored knockdowns with that punch. So that's going to be a punch I think Canelo may not be ready for. That may get his attention. I'm not saying he's going to get knocked out or anything. That punch may knock him off kilter a little bit. So I think Crawford is going to, for the first 4-5 rounds, really fight on the outside. And then maybe when he starts feeling comfortable and the fight starts wearing on and maybe he feels as though Canelo's slowing down a bit, then he may step in a little bit and get in that mid-range and try to like rip some short shots in the mid-range, maybe rip the left hand of the body, come over the top with a short little right hook and then pivot out and then reset again. Because Bivol can pot shot a little bit. We saw Bivol pot shot against Canelo in the first 4 rounds. And then once Canelo started getting tired and started slowing down a little bit, then he would jump in and started throwing the flurry. He didn't start jumping in and starting throwing the flurries until like the 5th, 6th round. That's when he started. But only when he felt Canelo slowing down a bit. I think you're going to see Crawford take a lot of the things from the Lara fight, take a lot of things from the Bivol fight. I don't think he's going to fight any way nowhere near the way Mayweather fought him. He's not going to try and walk him down like Mayweather did. But I think he's going to pot shot like Lara, and then he's going to start as the fight wears on. He may start going in and out like Bivol did and throwing quick flurries and then popping back out. Because you see, like a lot of times, Canelo was waving Bivol to come in, and Bivol wouldn't come in. He would just go right to the mid-range, throw that quick flurry, and then he would go back out and say he never let Canelo get set up close. He never wanted to allow Canelo to have any chances up close, deep in the pocket. I think Crawford's going to do a lot of that. And I do think he's going to win a decision. I think he's going to outwork. He's going to land the cleaner shots in this fight. He's going to outwork Canelo. And I think if this is a numbers game, and neither guy gets knocked down or significantly hurt in the fight, this is going to be quality and quantity. Yeah. If it's a game of quality and quantity, I think Crawford can be the one landing the quality and the quantity here. Right? That's the way I see it.
I think so. And so who do you pick? What's your prediction here?
I'm picking Crawford by unanimous decision as well.
Unanimous decision. There you go. Yeah. Both of us, a lot of people in the chat picking Canelo. Chet says Crawford's going to sleep. Somebody asked in the chat, was Errol Spence washed? Was he washed when he fought Bud Crawford? I don't know that he was. I really don't know that he was. I think you're seeing two people. But there's just such a big gap between them, and which is crazy because of Errol's accomplishments. But yeah, I don't think he was washed when he fought him.
I hate saying this, I really do, but I always thought Crawford would beat Spence. My opinion is, and again, it is what it is. Hindsight is 20/20. The car accident happened. Vinny Pazienza got in a car accident and broke his neck. He came back and was able to win a world title. He was, he's still a decent fighter. Whatever the case. But Errol Spence, he lived a hard life. He ballooned up in weight in between fights. He stayed at a weight class way too long. Yeah. He never should have stayed at welterweight all those years. He was too big for the weight class. He should have, for all intents and purposes, have been at least a middleweight, maybe even a super middleweight, like Floyd Mayweather said. So, do I think that the Spence that fought Cal Brook would have given Crawford a better fight? Absolutely, but I still don't think that would have been enough to win. So, no, I don't think so. I don't see any scenario where Errol Spence beats Bud Crawford, but given the car accident, given the hard living, given the fact that he stayed at a weight class too long, in my opinion. And I saw him during the fight during the fight week, and I told you he didn't look right. He was slurring his words, whatever. But again, that's all on him. Crawford can't live his life just like when people say, "Oh well, what if Pacquiao fought Mayweather 5 years earlier. No, again, like Mayweather is older than Pacquiao. Oh, well, Pacquiao, because he was tougher, like Mayweather style, blah, blah. Listen, if you live a certain life and you don't go through the same hardships as somebody else because you make the right choices, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It is
I
what it
agree.
is. Like no one told Errol Spence to and I want to be very careful here, and I don't want to be insensitive, but no one told Errol Spence to do all those things outside of the ring that he was doing.
Oh, stop it. What's the matter with you?
You
You're
know what
so
I mean?
insensitive. Just insensitive.
No, you make your choices in life, and you have to deal with the repercussions of your choices. Crawford always lived a clean life. Mayweather always. Here's the difference between Crawford and Mayweather, though. Crawford never had hand problems. He's never had any serious injuries.
No,
You
he
never
really
heard
hasn't.
Crawford ever have to pull out of a fight. You never heard Crawford ever have a major surgery. Like Canelo's had 2 knee surgeries. He's had a wrist surgery before. Like, you've seen fights postponed sometimes for Canelo. You've never seen Crawford have to pull out of a fight. You've never seen him complain about any hand injuries, shoulder injuries, any back injuries, any knee injuries.
Yep.
So he's lived a good life, and he's, knock on wood, he's had a very great life, but with pretty much with no serious injuries. So it is what it is.
There you go. All right, let's go to the phones here. 410. I believe this is Jerry. 410. You're live.
Yo.
How about them Bengals? Blew out the Browns today. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even close, son.
Yeah, they beat the best team in all of football.
The Browns, son. All right, go ahead, Jerry. Who do you got?
Ravens for the Super Bowl. Oh, you ain't ready. Cincinnati ain't going to do nothing. They ain't going to do nothing. And Canelo Alvarez, TKO stoppage, second half of the fight. Tired of hearing people talk like Bud Crawford is Superman. He's not. He's a great fighter. He is. His resume, that's another story. I think we'll be ahead at the time of the stoppage with both fighters having their moments. If he gets caught, he gets stopped.
There you go.
And I'm fucking, thank God it's this week because I'm ready to be done with it. I don't give a fuck who wins.
It's funny. It's funny. It's funny during these big fight weeks. You have the tribal fans on both sides, and no one can just say, "Okay, I just think this guy's gonna win." No one can say and pick a winner without having to discredit or downplay the other guy. Like, they always have to subtract from the other guy to add to their own guy that they're picking. And again, I don't care who wins the fucking fight. I whoever wins. I'm just telling you about what I think is going to happen, and my opinion is just an opinion. That's all it is.
There you go. All right, Jerry, we're gonna get moving, man. We can't. It's hard to hear you, man. Your phone is like real staticky. So, all right, man. We're gonna return here. Let's see what we got here. 516. This is Long Island, I believe.
I think this is
rough?
Jesse Rican, I think.
516. You're live.
This is Jesse. What's up, guys?
Jesse, what's happening, man?
Reek!
I agree with Jerry. TKO stoppage. And it's funny, right? Because like people are talking about best versus the best, which it is, but I don't think the consideration is coming into much that Crawford is jumping up 2 weight classes, not to face just anybody, but the best in that weight class. So maybe Crawford is the better boxer between them, but the weight class is what's going to make the difference here. And Canelo's power I think is gonna be too much for him. I'm not sure. Didn't Crawford get hurt in the Gamboa fight? So
He did.
It's not he can't be hurt.
Yeah, he did.
So, I think Canelo. I think we definitely could see a stoppage here from Canelo to Crawford. I really can't see it the other way around. I enjoyed that countdown fight, and you gotta think that Nate Campbell's pretty pissed that Gervonta Davis got that Jake Paul fight instead of. I don't know. Yeah.
That was probably, I'm gonna tell you this. That was probably one of my favorite moments on the show. Is when me and Jesse were on here and we had Nate Campbell and we were just killing Nate Campbell over the Jake Paul fight. He was so mad.
He was getting so annoyed. Yeah, and I wasn't really meaning to annoy him. I was just
Eric was
I just used to annoy people when I was drunk.
Eric was trolling the fuck out of him, and he just kept walking into it. It was hilarious.
But I thought when Gervonta Davis actually got that fight, which is a circus on its own. I just thought of Nick Campbell like, oh shit, he could have got that fight. But yeah, man, I'm excited for fight week. I enjoyed the Netflix show. I don't know if you guys saw it, The Countdown.
No, I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's 2 episodes in the all access and 24/7 realm of things. So yeah, man. I mean, when you realize Canelo has like, and it's funny because they go through Mexico and they have like this little montage where everyone's like Canelo, and you realize this guy really has a whole country behind him.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool to see. But hey, I could be wrong. Crawford could win. It could be a draw. This fight really is a coin toss. I'm excited for the prospect fight, Vargas Jr. versus Kalen Walsh.
I think Vargas beats him.
I think that fight's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't wait. That one's going to be good. Yeah. All right, Jesse, we're going to get rolling, man.
Vargas Jr. by knockout.
I think Vargas too. I think Vargas too, man. All right, let's get rolling here. Let's see here. Let's go to Robbie 530.
First of all, Robbie, do you want to tell Eric what you said when you called me up this week?
What do you say?
Do you want to apologize? Or
what do you say?
What do you want to do, Robbie?
What do you say?
On the phone, Mom.
How?
I called Joe earlier this week when I got the email from Netflix because you guys were talking last week about how this fight was going to be early. Unfortunately, it's not. Not for those on the East Coast. The card doesn't start till 9 p.m.
What?
Yep.
What else? What else were you saying during that phone call? You were criticizing.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be at 5.
No, I'm on the email list, and they I get emails from Netflix all the time.
Yeah, maybe they moved it.
It's scheduled for 9 o'clock.
All right.
Because Joe said one of the reasons why they may have done that is they're not allowed to show it in Mexico for free like they always have in the past.
No, they're not allowing Azteca TV to show the fight now. They're only allowing Netflix to have it. So before there was talk before that they were considering moving it earlier so that people in Mexico could see it, and it would be on Azteca TV. But now I guess because of what Netflix did, why don't you say
may have changed the game right there?
Why don't you say all the other stuff you were saying too? Go ahead, Eric.
Joe,
Hold on. Let him read the super chat. Then I'm going to get back in your ass in a couple seconds.
Okay.
Boxing. Thank you so much. He said, Robbie, should I bet on black this Saturday?
First of all, if you're going to bet on Terence Crawford. Okay.
So you bet on
all these people in the chat that are picking Canelo, they're picking with their hearts, not with their heads.
Wow.
All right,
Terence Crawford has.
So Robbie,
Terence Crawford has a lot more. Terence Crawford has a lot more in the tank, and even though he's older, he's got a lot more in the tank. This is Canelo's 68th professional fight, and he's been in several wars. He's taken punishment from several people. Yes, he's won 63 of them. He's knocked out 39 people, but Crawford is much fresher. So you guys were talking about how you think Crawford will stay most of the fight in the southpaw stance. I agree with that, but Crawford is one of the best switch hitters in boxing. I think he's going to do some of that to really confuse Canelo. So I really think that Crawford is going to walk away with this decision, provided the Las Vegas judges are fair and they know what they're watching. Because remember, Canelo gets the benefit of the doubt in Las Vegas.
There you go. There you go. All right, Robert. Let's see here. Who do you like in the Vargas fight, the co-main?
I like Vargas Jr. Now Kellen Walsh is a good fighter, but I like Vargas Jr. I think he'll win that. I think it'll be a competitive fight, but I think Vargas Jr. will win that with no problem.
There you go. There you go. All right, so I'm looking at this. Let's see here. The main card will likely begin at 8 p.m. Eastern time with the ring walks around 11. So it sounds like they did change it up.
They did.
Because, so that's great news for me.
See, Robbie doesn't remember, though, before when they were talking about being able to have it on Azteca TV so the Mexican fans could watch it in prime time. He doesn't.
No,
remember.
I remember that.
He doesn't remember.
I remember that. That's why I told you when I got
trash. What else did you say? Oh, Eric forgot this fight. Again, I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you taking shots
Robert,
at this
man,
show.
come on.
We do this show the way we
this.
want to do this show. You're not the producer here.
What fight did I forget? What fight did I forget?
What fight did he forget last week?
What fight?
You haven't forgotten any this week. By the way,
I haven't forgotten any last week, too.
I
haven't forgotten any last week. The week before, I didn't forget any. All right, get out of here.
How could you forget a fight when you only talk about the fights we want to talk about, not the ones
you
want to talk about?
Fight gonna be on TV?
You don't direct traffic around here. I've been saying that for years. Get him out of here.
All right, Robert, we're going to get rolling here, man. We got one more call left here. Let's see here. 210. Where's 210?
What is that? Is that Washington?
San Antone. San Antone. 210. You're live.
What's up, guys? It's Anthony from San Antonio. I go by Rod, but hey, I don't know if it's the gloomy weather down here. It's raining. We've been getting a lot of rain lately, but I'm gonna poo-poo this, man, and I'm just gonna call it like it is. A lot of the callers that are calling, they've kind of, this is a cycle. When fights like this kind of get announced, people are like they're more clear-headed about what it is, but the closer we get to the fight, the more their imagination starts to take control, and it just reminds me of Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. You know what I mean? The closer we got, people started, maybe if Mikey does this and that, I just don't think it's gonna. I don't like the fight. I mean, for the overall picture, I hope it's a good fight so that boxing can get some shine, because it's going to be on Netflix and a lot of people are going to watch it. But I just don't like the fight. This is not the fight we wanted. This is why there's so many. I put this almost in the area of all these weird fights that are happening with the exhibitions, because it doesn't mean anything. I wanted to see Canelo fight Benavidez. He doesn't want to fight the guy. Sorry, Canelo fans. He doesn't want to fight the guy. I wanted to see Terence Crawford fight Boots Ennis, and those are like the passing of the torch type fights. And the reason we're not building any more stars in the sport anymore is because back in the day, like Canelo, he got all his shots at the names. They were older, they were past their primes, but he was able to make a name off the old name. But now that the shoe's on the other foot, he doesn't want to do that. So I just don't see it happening. When we see these, I'm sorry, one more point. So when we see these moves happen, we usually see like a Roy Jones going up to fight a heavyweight, like a weak title holder, like John Ruiz, or we see a Manny Pacquiao jump up to fight a faded Oscar De La Hoya. But this isn't the case. This guy's jumping up. He's older. It's a mystery of how shot Canelo is. I do think he's shot, but and another thing, there's not going to be a knockout, guys. These are two A-level fighters. It's going to go. When have we seen two A-level fighters face off in a knockout happens? Man, the only time it really struck me was Pacquiao Marquez. These guys. If Crawford.
Pacquiao Hatton, I thought was one of those.
Yeah,
fights.
I mean, but I didn't think much. I never thought about that.
Yeah, these are not high volume guys either. They're not overly aggressive guys. These are cerebral fighters.
There you go.
And I think the size difference with the Canelo's past 5 cherry picks being like overhyped opponents, I think almost equalizes what he's facing in the ring. Like, okay, Crawford's an A-level fighter, but he's going to be a lot smaller.
But honestly, guys, when have we seen Canelo really throw that power a lot? He's just loading up. It's easy to see. He's just doing the high guard. His a lot of his reflexes, legs are gone. So it's just going to be one of those fights that goes the distance. I'm actually rooting for Crawford, but I'd put my money, if I was to put money down on Canelo, by decision. I think Crawford's going to have a good run early on, because if you look at fights like Laura and Shroud, Canelo has trouble with that. But I think Canelo's fight is going to edge it.
There you go.
Okay, good take.
All right. Thank you so much, man. We're going to get rolling. Thank you so much for the calls. Good call as always. All right, let's get to the rest of the news here. Not much, well, I mean, not a whole lot going on. Beeb, Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather look to be set for spring of 2026. It's going to be an exhibition. What are we doing? What is this?
Yeah, I mean, Eric, Floyd Mayweather kind of saw what was going on with Jake Paul and Tank Davis, and he was like, "I'm going to steal their thunder. I mean, I'm not going to allow this to happen without having my say so and all of it." So I think Floyd Mayweather got a little bit of, I want these guys are stealing my thunder. This is my shtick, so to speak. And if anyone's going to do these types of fights, then it's going to be me. I'm not going to let this guy steal the show here. I want the attention. And then this is more of an attention grabber. This is more of Floyd wanting to stay in the limelight. But, I just think that after a while, people are going to get sick of these fights. They're really not entertaining. I don't think Jake Paul versus Tyson was entertaining. I get why they did it. It's fine. If you want to do that, you can do that. But in my opinion, it's just not something that I really enjoy watching or I get excited about or I really care about. But we're going to talk about it because it technically is boxing, so we report the news, right?
That's right. This next story, man, this one was one of the best stories I've ever seen in boxing sport, period. You never see this happening, and this took a lot of character on this guy's part. Roy Jones Jr. finally gets his gold medal from the '88 Olympics. Park Si-hoon, who defeated Jones in the Olympics, met with Roy Jones and gave him his gold medal that he won in the '88 Olympics. Passed it over to Roy Jones, said, "Hey, you deserve this." If you guys didn't see the video of this, go watch it. Jones was overwhelmed with emotion and everything like that. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Park didn't have to do that, by the way.
No, he didn't.
He didn't have to do that. But this is something that haunted Park as well as it haunted Jones. There was an interview a few years ago in Korea, and Park stated that he should have gotten the silver medal out of that. He knew he lost.
Yeah,
they asked him backstage, "Did you think you won the fight?" No, he didn't think he won the fight. He told Roy Jones that. And he always knew that he didn't deserve that medal. I think he felt bad taking it. I think he knew why he got it. You know what I mean? But for him to do that, for Park to do that, man, that shows a lot of character, man.
It does,
a lot of character. And Jones was just excited to see him again. Jones looked like he was excited. He didn't know what was going on, but he was excited to see him again. And both guys were really excited to see each other. It was really just a cool moment. It really was.
I can only imagine how special of a moment that is when you're in the Olympics like that, representing your country, and when you're a young kid, and even after it all, when you look back on it, it's just something that you just never forget.
Yeah,
you just never forget.
And like I said, man, with Jones won the Val Barker Award in that Olympics by getting the silver medal. That's never happened. It hasn't happened since. So they all knew. Everybody knew. And if you watch that fight, I don't care how much, nobody's going to look at Park and say, "Yeah, you won the fight." I don't care how much experience you have watching fights, whatever. You're going to look at those two fighters and say, "Yeah, that guy won," without question.
This is going to sound really bad, but I think they should do this not only in the Olympics, but also in pro boxing. When there's a real controversial decision, I think that the fight should be rewatched by a board. And I think you may not agree with this. It's controversial.
I don't agree with that. No, I don't agree with it at all.
It's real controversial. I think they should be able to overturn a real egregious decision.
I'm going to tell you why. I don't agree with that, because how many times have you watched a fight and you scored it, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go back and watch it and rescore it. Or you hear people saying like, there was one, what was it? The Keith Thurman fight. There was a Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. All right. I think those two fought. It was a real close fight. I heard one guy say, yeah, I scored it this way on the night of the fight. But then I went back and rewatched it because everybody else had this guy winning. They went, and then he had that guy winning too.
Yeah.
I've always said this. I scored the Mayweather Canelo fight the same as CJ Ross, which was a draw.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, when I go back and watch that fight, I'm like, what were you watching? Yeah. You know, but again, I can say that now, but that's what I watched. That's what I scored. So when the public backlash hits and you go back and you know it's a controversial decision, your brain is already altered to say, you know what, we screwed up somewhere or they screwed up somewhere. Let's fix this.
You know what the worst fight I've ever saw, the worst decision I've ever saw, and this always sticks in my mind. I don't know if you remember this. When Paul Williams and Paul Williams versus Irislandi Lara. I thought that was such a bad, Paul Williams won that fight. Irislandi Lara clearly won that fight.
Well, James Taberi. Remember that fight?
Yeah. James
Taberi clearly beat that guy.
Taberi definitely won that fight.
Yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
I see your argument probably makes more sense from a logical standpoint, because if you go watch the fight again, you're going to just be swayed by the public backlash, and you're going to go out of your way to probably try to justify and change. It's almost like you're shamed into changing what you.
Yes, and that's why I don't agree with that board system.
You know what? I retract that statement. I take that off the table. You've actually convinced me. You made a better argument than me.
King KO says Floyd got robbed in the '96 Olympics. A lot of people think that as well. Listen, there's a difference between being robbed and what happened with Roy Jones. That was a clear robbery.
That was probably the worst decision ever in the Olympics.
And just like the Michael Conlon decision, when that wasn't a robbery. Maybe you saw him win the fight, maybe you didn't. And the Floyd fight was not a robbery. Maybe you saw him win the fight, maybe you didn't, but it was definitely not a robbery. The Jones fight, that was egregious, and that was a robbery, for sure. For sure. Last piece of news here, Joe Bugner, former heavyweight who fought Ali, passed away this week at the age of 75. So condolences go out to him and his family. Guys, listen up. So we will, and that's a great point too. G Funky says a fight on TV can look very different from watching it in person. That's another thing I tell you also, B. Remember that? Where I said the judges are sitting one side, they have monitors, but the fight's right in front of them. And you at home have the benefit of what? The announcers, the trainers,
different angles,
different angles, slow motion. They don't have any of that. So it's definitely, I can't, a lot of people fault CJ Ross for that draw. I don't fault her for that because again, you're sitting there. It's a hard thing to do. Champy, thank you so much. He said Michael Carbajal was also robbed in the Olympics with Roy Jones Jr. Again, I don't agree with that either. Like I said, I think Roy Jones was that was the biggest robbery I've ever seen. So
that was the worst decision I've ever seen in the in the Olympics or
boxing. I think in boxing in general, I think that might have been the worst decision I've ever seen. Guys, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on X at jhabib1. Find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporter.com, and you can find me on X at ringside73. Catch us Friday. I think we're going to do a weigh-in show. If not, Beeb will be there doing the weigh-in show, I'm sure. So catch us Friday. We'll do the weigh-in show, and guys, we'll see you next week.
Next week, man. Big one.